The return of the Safari Rally to the World Rally Championship and the impact it will have on motorsports in Kenya. I'm going to introduce the moderator. His name is Feisal Malik. And Feisal is a documentary filmmaker, photographer, and book publisher who has documented Safari Rally in different capacities. He managed a rally team that won the KNRC title. Before Kenya losing FIA status, he was a media liaison officer for the Safari Rally. Now let's go back to those days of yore. Shekameter, Joginder Singh, Stig Blomqvist, You Are Continent, Patrick Giroux. Ladies and gentlemen, Feisal Malik. Feisal, welcome.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, depending on where you're streaming from. Welcome to the 2020 edition of the Kenya International Sports Film Festival. This year, we're coming to you live from Nairobi, Kenya, and we're online for obvious reasons. Today I'm going to talk to you about the return of the Safari Rally to the WRC and the impact it has had on motorsports in Kenya, or will have on motorsports in Kenya, and also the impact on Kenya as a nation. Without wasting too much time, I'm going to start off by introducing my panel. I'll start off with Phineas Kimathi. Could we have Phineas on screen, please? Great. Phineas, Karibu. I'll start off by introducing Phineas Kimathi, CEO of the Safari Rally, representative of organizers at the FIA World Rally Championships Commission, chairman of the Kenya Motorsports Federation. He has also been a rally driver and was winner of the WRC Safari Rally Formula 2 category in 1999. I'll now go to my next panelist, Surinder Thatthi. Surinder is currently the FIA Vice President. He has been involved in motorsports from 1978. In 1997, he was appointed to the safety and technical team for the Safari Rally. He was also nominated as Motorsportsman Personality in 1998 and has won the FIA Africa Rally Championships Co-Driver Awards on numerous occasions. Surinder has also been a liaison officer for the likes of Audi and Nissan back in the days for the Safari Rally, and these were big names. Last but not least, I'd like to introduce Peter Njenga. Peter is the media director for the WRC Safari Rally. He writes for the Daily Nation. He is a media consultant, contributor to the Kenya Yearbook as well. He has extensively covered the WRC Safari Rally from 1989 to 2007 for Nation Media Group, Agency France Presse, Compass News Features. In 2004, he was awarded Kenya Sports Journalist of the Year. Gentlemen, fire up your engines, please. The idea of a Safari Rally was born in a legendary and much quoted conversation between Eric Cecil and his cousin, Neil Vincent. A true motorsports devotee, Vincent refused to compete in the newly built Langa Langa circuit, and he had this to say, I quote, "I can imagine nothing more boring than driving around and round in the same piece of track," he declared. "But if you will organize an event where we get into our cars, slam the door, go halfway across Africa and back, and the first car home is the winner, I'll be in it." Thus, the Safari Rally was born in 1953, known as the Coronation Rally in favor of Queen Elizabeth. In 1957, the FIA marked the rally on the International Motorsports calendar. Don't ask me where I was in that year. In 1973, it was run for the first time at WRC level. Again, don't ask me where I was then. The Safari Rally has run 29 times on WRC level. Let's start off by watching this little clip, just to get things in perspective. Could we have this clip on, please?
KCB Group, we are proud of our sponsorship novelty in motorsport for the last 17 years. We are starting the rally at Kasarani Stadium for the first time since its inception in 1953.
This has been a very important event. It's been long coming. We're hopeful that going forward, we will be able to deliver a very successful event.
So I am pleased to announce today that KCB Bank Kenya will be the official banking partner for the 2019 Safari Rally.
Great, thanks. So in 2019, the Safari Rally ran as a candidate event for the WRC. Please could you bring the next photo up, please, before I bring in the panelists? Great, that's picture one, yeah, thanks. That was the flag off of the candidate Safari Rally at the KICC. My question to you, Phineas, Karibu, thank you for your time. Why did we move from KICC to Kasarani, the home of champions?
Yeah, when we got the candidate event date, KICC was already booked for an international convention, and we thought it wise to run it around Kasarani just to make sure that we had all the space we needed and the permit that we needed to put the cars. So it was a temporary move. We intend to return to the historical starting point, which is KICC, come next year.
Oh, that is great. That's great news to know that we will be back at KICC, because I think that's one of the most iconic starts. Safari Rally is based at the Kasarani Stadium. I believe you have been given office space there. Will you still have your office space there?
Yes, you know, the stadium is owned by Sports Kenya, which is a parastatal that is domiciled at the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Heritage. So we are actually in the same ministry. We have no reason to move out of Kasarani. In fact, we intend to even come up with a more permanent structure there for the rally.
Great, great. Thanks a lot, Phineas. Surinder, over to you. I have been going on candidate event. What exactly is a candidate event, and what was the FIA looking for when they came down to analyze this event?
A candidate event is a trial to make sure that the event meets the standards of the FIA in safety, organization, etc. And then when we had this candidate event last year in July, we had three very senior in the FIA. One of them was Michelle, who herself is a very accomplished rally driver. And Michelle was directing the event's safety planning. Then the other delegate we had was the sporting delegate, which was Timo Raitanen. Timo Raitanen was the co-driver for Grolam and has done the Safari and has also won 2 World Rally Championships. So Timo, he was checking the sporting side of the event, quality of the stages, the sporting how the organization ran the sporting side, etc. And then the third delegate we had was Shem Bonwell, who was the medical delegate, and he was checking on our medical facilities and medical readiness for the event. All these three people submitted reports to the for that event, and those reports were studied by the World Rally Championship Commission, of which Phineas is a member, and that commission then decided to award us the status of World Rally Championship for the Safari Rally.
That's great, that's great. Going back to Michelle, a very hands-on lady, I must say, because I remember when we were covering the event last year, out in the section, she was, what do you call it, the safety vehicle or the route opener? I remember her zooming across in a four-wheel drive with the siren on before the rally cars come on. I stand to be corrected, Surinder?
Yeah. She was checking the safety of the stage before the start of the stage to make sure that the spectators are not very close to the stage. She was checking if all our officials are in the right position. She had a full safety plan which she was checking whether we were implementing. So she's a very important person for us, Michelle Mouton. And she loves the safari and she loved what we did.
Great. I remember that. I mean, you had sealed off the sections. As journalists as well, we had to walk right into the section, tiring though at times, carrying all that equipment, but I think safety first. Peter,
Yes,
moving on to you, as I was just talking about matters journalism, the media department for the Safari Rally, what impact did it have on the event?
Well, thank you very much. You should understand that we were having both the local and the international media personnel, and you are actually the bridge between the drivers, sorry, the competitors, officials, and sponsors. The impact was huge, and we learned a lot, but we had several challenges, which I'm sure come next year we'll be able to address, because already the safari will have an FIA media delegate to guide us.
Super, that's great. Can we have the next picture, please? Right, I think it's only fair to honor the winners of the candidate event. That was Baldev Chaga and Ravi Soni, our very own Kenyans. But what I'd like to bring to your attention on this photograph, and I'd request that this picture stay on for longer. Could I have the picture, please? Yeah. The involvement of politicians, the government backing. I mean, if you look right in front there, I'm seeing Madam Amina, I'm seeing Bwana Najibu, a lot of backing from the government in terms of making sure the event happens. Phineas, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, first of all, the people you see in the photograph are not politicians. Yes. Because they are from the executive. That's why they are called cabinet secretaries. So they actually represent the executive or the presidency. And this event has been sanctioned from the highest level by the head of state himself, His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And we all acknowledge that the safari is not just an event. It's not just another event. It forms part of Kenya's heritage. It has been running consistently since 1953, as you rightly said. So the government also understands the economic impact of this event to this country, and that's why they've given it priority, full backing. Multiple ministries are involved in the planning and the execution of the event.
That is great. I believe this government has given it the biggest backing ever in comparison with past governments. This is brilliant. Surinder, over to you. Amina Mohammed's new position with the FIA as World Motorsports Council. I mean, that's great. Apart from a Kenyan coming on board, we have a lady. I think this would be great for motorsports in Kenya, or maybe Africa in general. Could you tell us more about what exactly she'll be doing on that committee and on the council, and a bit about that, please?
The FIA is a body of members. We have 165 sporting members around the world. And the supreme body that controls world motorsport is the World Motorsport Council. So Amina has been appointed to quite a high position. There are only 24 people in that World Motorsport Council. Some are permanent members, like the member of Ferrari. The boss of Ferrari is a permanent member of the World Motorsport Council. And at the end of the day, the FIA has recently joined the International Olympic Committee as a member. And one of the biggest things that the International Olympic Committee sensitized the FIA on is that we are not at the present moment gender sensitive. So, between Jean Todt and the vice presidents, we had a discussion of a lady to identify around the world that could fill a place in the World Motorsport Council for us. And we were very honored that Africa got that position and that Amina is with us in the World Motorsport Council.
That's great. That's great. Could you please bring up the next poster and I'll just speak over it. So the Safari Rally got back its status, back on the WRC. The date was set 16th to 19th of July 2020 and the countdown began. Phineas and his team started working around the clock, putting things in place, coordinating with FIA, government backing, and what have you. Then this happened. Postponed. Matters beyond our control. We all know COVID-19 hit the world, and I remember having conversations with Phineas during this period time and again, and it was uncertain times. You can just pull down the picture, please. Phineas, please tell us, what was the mood like in camp at that time? Because I know momentum was high, there was excitement, things were happening, and then bang, COVID.
Well, first of all, we were disappointed, but we were expecting something because COVID came and totally disorganized the world. We're talking about a new order or the new normal. And we thought that, it's better for us to postpone the event and give ourselves time to see whether COVID goes down and wait for another 1 year. But generally, we were not very disappointed because now we are waiting for our event. We have it back. It's a question of time, and that time is ticking, or the clock is ticking very fast. In fact, looking at the countdown, we just have something like another 7 months to the rally.
Okay, what dates are we looking at? Have the dates been set for 2021, Phineas?
Yes, they have. We are looking at the week of 24th June 2021 to the weekend of 29th.
Great. So rally enthusiasts, take note of that. 2021, we need to go out there and see this happen again. Can I have the next picture, please? This one's a nostalgic picture I'm bringing up. This was Tommy Mäkinen way back in 1996 with Sipo Hariane going to win the Safari Rally in his Mitsubishi Evolution 3. This happened 24 years ago. I hold this picture really dear to me. In fact, it's on my wall in my office, right next to my desk. Why I brought this picture up, when I took that picture, once they left, my vehicle got stuck in that same mud hole, and I had a rally car zoom past me through the mud hole. When I came back to Nairobi, it was a very exciting story that I had to tell my friends and family, and I was all excited about it, about the experience. But when I look back on hindsight, I realized the danger, the safety breach, and it shouldn't have happened. I shouldn't have done that. And that's where I'd like to bring you in, Surinder, to talk on safety and FIA stands on safety when it comes to motorsport and driving, and seeing that even back in '97 you were on the safety team for the Safari Rally. So over to you.
Well, safety is one of the most important things the FIA insists on. It's very important that safety is not just the actual safety of the rally route and the spectators who are on it, but we also have to ensure that the vehicle is safe for the driver and co-driver. So a lot of testing is done by the FIA, not only on rally cars, even on Formula One cars. We do impact testing, etc., side impact testing, and we improve side roll cages, side soft protection with carbon fiber, and also the seat belts and seats are modified to help in side impacts. So those are some of the very important jobs the FI is doing on safety. And then the event safety, that is also of paramount importance. And the Michelle Mouton, for example, is the safety officer, and she will make sure, and she has the power to stop the stage from running if she feels it's not safe with spectators or for any other reason. So a very powerful position Michelle holds in the FI.
Okay, still on safety, Surinder. The Safari Rally was known for running on open roads, you know, and you'd have those situations of maybe cows in the way or other oncoming vehicle, like what I went through way back in '96. I believe that's a thing of the past now. For the next rally, will spectators be able to drive in, or will they have to walk in? What's that situation like?
Well, spectator areas will be created by the organizers and Phineas's team, and spectators will only be allowed to go into those spectator areas. People will not be allowed to drive into the route, and our security, the security department of the Safari Rally will stop anybody from going into the route of the rally. It's now not allowed to use open roads with other traffic, so that we have gone to private farms where we can close the road quite well, and open roads are not allowed anymore. A special stage rally must be run on closed road. That's the new norm for the Safari Rally in the future.
Okay. Talking closed roads, still on you, Surinder. Oh no, I think Phineas can pick this one up. Phineas, the special stage, if I'm correct to call it that, in Kasarani, that was amazing. Is it still going to be there for future rallies, for the next rally? Maybe you can tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, the whole idea of having a spectator stage right in the middle of the city is our city, or Nairobi city, is home to about 6 million people now. And the rally is meant to be enjoyed by the population of Kenya and also the world through television. So that spectator stage will be tweaked, and it will be slightly improved, and it is going to be taking 2 cars at the same time. So that will give Nairobians an opportunity to enjoy the rally before the cars begin to tackle the floor of the Rift Valley, where most of the stages will be based.
Okay, going back to the spectator stage, will we be seeing it used beyond the Safari Rally? I mean, when the KNRC kicks in, or people could use it maybe for training rallies, are we going to see more of it?
Yes, that is a facility that has been developed and will continue being maintained using taxpayers' money. So we will open it for use by different motorsporting disciplines, particularly the rallycross, the autocross, and training for that matter.
Great. Peter, over to you. Media matters again. Things I hold dear to my heart. Tell us about the media center. I believe there's a media center being developed for the Safari Rally, and we're going to have live coverage online of the event. I think this is something amazing, because deep in the bush, people will be able to go online and watch the Safari Rally. I mean, after all, the WRC, I believe, according to statistics, attracts 800 million viewers. So maybe you can tell us a bit about the media center and live coverage, Peter?
Yeah, the media center will be based at KWS Service Park in Naivasha. Mentions that has been sent out by the Note that the media center is strictly for technical media only. That is, there will be print, and electronic. We'll have a radio center as well as a television center. Now, going back to the live coverage, the coverage is being done by the WRC promoter. It's based on cutting-edge technology, in that you'll be able to fly in the camera people. However, editing will be done in London, and then it will be relayed worldwide, including the WRC subscription station. And the promoter last year told me that the Safari will be watching at least 150 television stations worldwide, including Africa. But you'll have to tell us maybe because which channel will be airing for Africa. That notwithstanding, probably television stations, they have to negotiate with the promoter so that more Kenyans can be able to watch the Safari here at home. For WRC Plus television, you can send in subscribers, of which one can only pay about 8.99 euros for as monthly subscription, which I believe is affordable. The Safari, the promoter will give about 25 hours during the Safari week and during the event, thereby giving Kenya proper publicity, which is valued at about 4 billion shillings. That aside, it will not be business as usual for the local press, because like even the media office here in Nairobi or in Naivasha, they don't even accredit Kenyan journalists alone. All other journalists must seek registration through the FIA in conjunction with the promoter. Also, not that the media badge is used, is considered as a working tool, and it's owned by the organizers. Therefore, we'll not be able to see situations where journalists or non-accredited journalists littering through the route, because the media lays on safety will be able to identify areas whereby the photographers will be able to do their work. For majority of Kenyans, they can also watch the rally live from giant television stations or TV monitors at the KWS headquarters.
Great. Still on you, Peter. Back in the days, we used to have the newspaper inserts with the team and the numbers and everything, so you could take down your times. I hope you're still going to have more of that. That brings back some good memories.
Yeah, it does. But you see, back in the days, things were analog. Today, they are using the platforms like the WRC official website, as well as the Safari official website, whereby journalists can follow and even upload images and stories, which will be done after every stage, including a wrap-up under the direction of the FIA media delegate. I think, let's say, going back to 202, is, I think that's where we lost it, we as Kenyan journalists. However, I found out that the coverage of 202 and the coverage of 2021 are different, because in 202, you didn't have a social media platform, of which the FIA is keen to use besides now official channel like linear television. This will be a good experience for journalists to see that they're actually capable of learning from the best, and in future we'll be able to continue sharpening our skills.
Great, thanks Peter. In fact, Kenya has the highest penetration when it comes to internet usage with the phone in Africa, so I'm sure a lot of people will be following this online. Phineas, I'm just going to pick it up from what Peter slightly mentioned, the headquarters, which I'd like to call the nerve center in Naivasha. I stand to be corrected. Tell us a little bit about that. I believe when the postponement notice came out, containers were already in the high seas bringing in equipment and stuff for Naivasha to set up this headquarter in Naivasha. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that. Apart from the media side of it, what else are we seeing there?
Yeah, what we've done is we've partnered with the Kenya Wildlife Service Training Institute to set up the Nav Center, or what is now called the Service Park. For starters, rally cars are no longer serviced on the roadside. They have to return to the service park to pick fuel and to be fixed and to change tires. So this is what we are developing. Now, we're looking at an area more or less like ICD, where we can park up to 65 40-foot containers that we expect to be brought in form of equipment for the teams, and then they will set up in that area, and that area we should provide them with drinking water, electricity, and high-speed Wi-Fi, or call it fiber optic cable connectivity. So that's what we're working on, and it's at a very advanced stage. In fact, I am actually doing this interview from the service park in Naivasha, and everything looks very good. We expect that this will be done in a couple of weeks, and after that we'll start doing what we're calling a pavilion for the VIPs who will be coming to grace the rally.
Great, thanks for this, Phineas. And yeah, I mean, you're always on the move. You're always making sure things are in order, and great work. I'd like us to bring the next picture, please. And yes, I mean, that was Baldev Chaga on his way to winning the Safari Rally last year, which I thought it would be only fair to recognize him. He's a talented rally driver with his navigator, Ravi Soni. Surinder, I'd just like you to maybe run us through the categories of rally cars that there are these days. I know back in the days we had the Group Bs that got banned, and you have Group N, Group A. There's this new breed of rally cars. We have been out in the cold as a nation in terms of following the WRC. So what are these new cars that are out there, and what are the categories of these new rally cars?
The FIA has prepared a rally pyramid, and at the top of the pyramid is Rally 1, which is the WRC cars at the moment. These cars are only run by manufacturers, and private people can run WRC cars, but only if they are assisted by the manufacturer. So in a team, like for example, we have 3 teams in the WRC at the moment. Every team is allowed to enter 2 cars, WRC cars, that is the Rally 1 category. And then we fall into the Rally 2 category, which is basically the R5 cars, which we see being used in Kenya by Manveer Baryan, and Onkar Rai has got a Golf R5, and the other person who uses an R5 is Leroy Gomez from Zambia, who drives a Ford Fiesta R5. All these cars will classify under Rally 2. Then there are other pairs of the pyramid, which are Rally 3, which at the moment has no homologated car, and the first car that will be homologated is in December this year, which will be the Ford Fiesta. And then the Toyota Yaris GR is a Rally 3 car, which will be homologated in January. And we hope that the Rally 3 category will be the new category that takes over from the current N4, which is very widely used in Africa and Kenya. The N4 cars will be allowed to run in the Safari, but only if they comply with the Appendix J, the current Appendix J, on safety, which includes FT3, safety tanks, etc. And they will run in a national category, which is called the national class of the WRC, and will run behind the main rally of WRC cars and rallies. So those are the classes that will be eligible for the Safari Rally this year. Now, all the current cars that are running in the Kenya National Rally Championship might not be eligible because many of them do not comply with the current Appendix J on safety, which is the safety tank and the safety coupling on the tank, which is the fueling, and also the two things that will be run in the WRC event is we will have to run on FIA fuel, approved fuel. The national class, Phineas is trying to get permission to run on F-gas, which hasn't happened yet, but it might happen. And or the tires that will be used have to have a barcoding system, which can be measured by the FIA, because you're only allowed a limited number of tires to use. So these are the conditions and classes that will run in the Safari next year.
Thanks. Thank you, Surinder. I'd like to request the next picture, please. Yep, that is Karan Patel, one of our young fast ones there, the fast drivers. The youth are picking up on it. Phineas, I'd like to ask you more about the youth. We had even Tejas Hirani. I remember doing a documentary on him, and at the age of 17, I think, he was flying with those buggies. I wonder what became of him. Phineas, your son, Makre Kimathi. I won't ask you where you got the name from, but he's in there as well. He participated last year, I recall. So tell us more about the opportunities for the youth, the upcoming young guns, if I could say.
Well, first of all, motorsports is an expensive sport, and it's not very easy to promote it just the way we promote football or volleyball or athletics. But we know that we have a lot of talent out there. Kenyans are good drivers. If you go by the number of Kenyans who've won in the past, and they were driving at a tender age, the numbers are good. And we are working with the corporate world to see whether we are able or we can support more young people to get started. And one of the things the Federation is planning to do is to introduce cheaper events with cars that are not over-regulated. You know, if you have a Toyota Levin in your backyard, or a Toyota Treno, or a Subaru GCA, you can come out and compete and have a feel of driving cars in a rally. Once we're able to do this, then we will see whether we can work with the corporates to actually support more young people to get into motorsports.
I believe still on that, I believe we had the Clubman's Rally Championship back in the days, and that's where Baldev Chagga, I remember, made his name there as an 18-year-old. The late Tanveer Alam as well did really well there. Phineas, do we still have the Clubman's Rally Championship or something similar to that running?
We don't have that running at the moment, but we have discussed with the directors of the Federation, and when we review our national competition rules, or call them NCRs, towards the end of the year, we will propose that we introduce that category just to help more participants.
Okay, great. Could I have the next picture, please? Great. That is Katete from Uganda. Amazing driver. He did quite well. And more importantly, the next picture is his following. I mean, people from Uganda thronged the stages. They were flying the Ugandan flag high, supporting their drivers. I believe there's more than one driver at the rally last year. Peter, over to you now. What would the impact be next year's Safari Rally on Kenya? I mean, we just said 800 million viewers worldwide. You're talking teams from abroad coming in, and they come in with their service crew. You have spectators, fans coming in. So this is actually alternative tourism that we're looking at. Besides that, let's even talk a little bit about environmental impact. You just came, there was an 18 million tree planting project that has come up. So maybe you could start with that, and let's talk with that and the good things you're doing for the forests in Kenya.
Yeah, the CS, Amina spoke of the 19 million trees, which should be planted in the next 3 years. Now, number 9, figure 19, because it represents the 19 years that the safari was out of the countryship. As Surinder, maybe he can be able to elaborate about the policy of the FI and the environment. He's better placed on that. Now, well, the picture that we have just seen about the Ugandans and other people from Africa and the region in particular, they never have an opportunity to travel to Europe to watch a WRC. So, for the safari, this is the opportunity to watch a WRC event close at home. Last year, our traditional Ugandans, they actually they come to Kenya, they cross over to Kenya to come and watch rallying and even support their drivers. Now, this time around, previously someone was saying that they were organizing quite a huge number of spectators. Those spectators, adding to what the promoter said, is that at least the safari will reach about 70 million people. We are yet to know or to determine how many foreigners are going to come here. But again, the promoter said that on average, the economic impact is like 7 billion shillings. And if that will go a long way to achieve not only on tourism, but also the local mama mboga, the banana seller, the sausage seller, basically everybody, transportation, name it. So it will be, the impact will be really, really great.
Yes, I mean, definitely. When you say mama mbogas, I remember when we were covering it last year, at the spectator parkings, you had people selling drinks and sodas, biscuits, refreshments. So yes, it trickles down, and I'm sure this is going to bring some good foreign exchange into the country. On WRC road safety program, you had a retreat recently with the team. Again, to you, Peter. Maybe you can tell us a bit about that, because I think that's amazing that as the WRC road safety for people to drive, they're really pushing that agenda, and seeing that Kenya is always prone to accidents. So if you can tell us a bit about that, please.
We had a retreat, and again, I think Phineas is better placed to expound about the retreat.
Okay, all right. Phineas, over to you.
I think you just mentioned about road safety. As you know, road safety is at the heart of FIA agenda. And our President John Todd is the special envoy to the United Nations, appointed by the Secretary General to champion road safety in the world. So we want to take every opportunity to make sure that we work with the relevant organizations, particularly the NTSA and the Ministry of Transport and the police, to actually see whether we can reduce the number of fatalities on our roads. Because we are talking about losing close to 4,000 people every year. And these are talented people, these are Kenyans who can help in building the nation. So we're trying to develop a working formula with the organizations that are charged with the responsibility of promoting road safety. And very soon we are going to launch one. We have several proposals on the way forward. And I'll give you one of them. One of the cardinal rules driving on Kenyan roads is keep left unless you are overtaking. And if you drive on our beautiful Thika Super, you realize that all the slow cars keep right. Now, if we just brought a bit of order and said, if you're not overtaking, you keep left, it would be such a pleasure to actually drive from Nairobi to Thika. But what happens when you're driving on that beautiful highway? You have to keep overtaking on the right, on the left, because cars as slow as tuk-tuks are moving, or they are keeping right. So there are several ideas that we have, and we'll be sharing those ideas as we move forward. And we will also participate in ensuring that those ideas are implemented for the good of the Kenyan motorists.
Asante, thank you for that. Could I have the next picture, please? Okay, so this is 1992 Safari Rally. This is when service parks didn't exist. As you recall, I think it was Phineas was talking about roadside service that is no longer. Back in the days, this is how it was. That gentleman by the tire there, that is Iwase, a renowned rally driver, whose navigator was, guess who? A Kenyan, Sudhir Vinayak, who's actually a doctor by profession. Could we go to the next picture quickly? So that was just his service. That is Sudhir at the back there with the white shirt wearing specs. Involvement again of local crew as well with the international crew. Could you go to the next? And that was the setup for Toyota Team Europe, roadside service. Surinder, my question to you. You've been involved, like I said earlier on, with the big guns as a liaison officer with Nissan, with Opel, Audi, the famous Group Bs. Do you see this coming back again? Do you see these opportunities coming back again for Kenyan rally drivers? When I say rally, not just the drivers themselves, but people involved in motorsports. Do you see them coming in as liaison officers or even mechanics or drivers? Is that opportunity, are we going to go back to that?
Well, when a team in Kenya, they do need local help. So certainly liaison officers and local people will be helping the teams. But I do not see at the present moment a talented driver who could actually drive for the factory teams at the moment. Driving has evolved into a very specialized field whereby drivers today, if you watch the films of the WRC, the levels they drive at are quite beyond even our national rally champion drivers, and the speeds that they go at are amazing. So I don't see a Kenyan driver driving for the factory teams. He might be able to get a drive in the WRC2 category, which is the Rally 2 category, which is the R5 cars, and that if the teams promote is a possibility. But I don't see anybody coming into the WRC because first thing is the WRC is also very limited on testing these days. And so a local driver would be a test driver, and that doesn't exist anymore. Testing is not allowed.
Okay. Talking tests, I remember Glenn Edmonds, he would test for Rallia Mitsubishi. We had Azhar as well. I believe he had a test drive with Daihatsu in the 70s, and I think he used to test for them. Keeping fingers crossed that we get one of our fast kids one day back in one of these teams. Duncan did very well. He won the Safari Rally. So hoping against all hopes. Yeah, Peter. We're back on the FI calendar now for I believe 3 years, if I'm not wrong. How best can the media play its part to give Kenya maximum exposure so we can, so to say, milk the situation and make the most of it for our nation?
I think you have to look at other departments. Let's say like safety last year, they were training for the marshals. Motorsports has evolved so much, and I think as a media we have stagnated somehow. So the first thing you have to do is to do a training for a young journalist to understand that the hotel is very, very serious. The knowledge is of paramount importance. For example, it would be very naive for maybe someone asking, what title does he have? It is common knowledge that he's a defending world champion. Secondly, we have to invest in our media on equipment. And thirdly, we have to pool resources together. We will not be able to accredit photographers, for example, from all the media houses. As per the FIA, we can actually that we can be able to reach as many people as possible using the photographs, because here it's not a question of who has an exclusive photograph, because basically you are all grouped in the same area. So it will be a challenge, and the coming days will be very, very, very important for us motorsport journalists to get acquainted with the World Championship calendar, as well as the competitors, and to have a flexible team. I remember some time back a local journalist calling a Subaru Toyota, and such things cannot be allowed to happen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that, Peter. Phineas, over to you, sir. Any closing remarks? We've actually come to the end of our session, and I believe it's best if you have anything to say, and we can wrap it.
Yeah, first of all, let me thank you personally for organizing this and putting a lot of hours. We have to take every opportunity to inform Kenyans and the world at large what is happening to the return of the safari, and I think this is a good opportunity to do that. And I look forward to many more of such engagements. Thank you.
Great. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I know you guys keep busy, because getting you on the phones, you're in and out of meetings, you're traveling. Phineas, you're out there in Nevasha taking this call. Much appreciated. Thank you for your time. Thank you to you and your team for the hard work towards bringing back the Safari Rally to the WRC. And we look forward to 2021. I'm not too sure if there's any questions from viewers. If not, I think we're going to wrap this one. I think we're good. Yeah? Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for the Safari Rally, and the Kenya International Sports Film Festival still carries on with all the enthusiasm and all the energy. Thank you. Thank you for your time.